Hi everyone, Manmeet Chowdhry from Optimum Performance Solutions here. I really wanted to make this video, but before I go on, I just want to say, excuse me, I am getting over a cold and a little bit of a croaky voice. So, but I really just wanted to make this video because as a result of this morning's video where I've shared about, partners looking elsewhere to fulfill parts of relationships, I've had quite a few questions come in and I really wanted to address them as soon as I could because they were very similar from all different kinds of people. And I wanted to expand on that a little bit so they wouldn't just kind of linger in your head for the rest of the weekend. Thank you to all of those who reached out to say they really appreciate me being vulnerable and sharing my own life story and my own life events, and especially this kind of subject because it's such a taboo subject, especially in the Asian community. But absolutely, I want to let you know that it's possible to get over things that when we're going through it, we kind of think is like the worst thing that could happen to us. I know when I was going through this, it was like, this is crazy, like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and all of that just, spirals down, thinking there's something wrong in you. But really and truly, when you understand this, it really helps you take out that whole victim story and really understand yourself and understand other people and how you're also going to treat another relationship. Excuse me. Okay, so I wanted to read out some of the questions and attempt to answer them here for you. So the first one is, what if you do everything to fulfill their priorities? That just means that you'll never fulfill your own and you'll always sacrifice. Very interesting. It's also one of the things that I used to think too as well. Well, let's just take the word sacrifice first of all. You are actually never sacrificing anything. Why? Because in the moment, you are making a decision based on what is going to give you more benefit over drawback, more positive over negative, more reward over risk, based on your priorities. So remember I said before that we all kind of live in this on this one radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? So unless you think that making the decision, whatever the decision is, unless you see that there is more benefits that outweigh the drawbacks in your perception, even though there's going to always be both sides equally, you're still making the decision thinking there's going to give you more benefits, it's going to give you more reward over risk, it's going to give you more positives over negatives. So when you make that decision, you're not sacrificing anything. So if your partner turns around and says, hey, you know what, I want to go for Mexican today, I don't really want to go for Indian, you decide whether you go to like a Mexi-Indian where you get both, or you go, actually, you know what, that's fine, I'll go for Mexican today, can we go for Indian next week? So there's a, how do I get my priorities met? And if in the moment you decide you want to go for Mexican, well, you clearly saw benefits in going for a Mexican rather than going for an Indian. So there's no sacrifice there. You chose to make that decision based on what you thought was going to give you more benefits over drawbacks. So don't ever think you're sacrificing your own priorities. You're actually making a decision based on what is your own priorities and what's going to fulfill it the most. Now, if you kind of say here, you're always taking care of their own. Remember in the video before, I said it's about seeing how you fulfill your own priorities in exchange for fulfilling theirs as well. It's not about living that careful relationship and being on eggshells and only ever fulfilling theirs and, at the cost of what you perceive may be your own priorities. But I just want to get that quite clear for you. So, you're never going to be sacrificing your own. This is another question. I'll always be on the lookout and on my toes to make sure he doesn't outsource. Is that normal? Well, ladies and gents, if you want to be the best option for your partner, the way to do that and have a fulfilling relationship is find out what their priorities are. When you find out what their priorities are and you understand how is it that I can fulfill those priorities alongside and in exchange for fulfilling my own, you're going to be on your toes because you want to be the best option, right? So you're going to want to be empowered in all 7 areas. You're going to want to be empowered spiritually. You're going to want to be empowered mentally, vocationally, financially, family-wise, social-wise, and physical-wise. So it's going to keep you on your toes in all 7 areas of your life to make sure that you are the better option. That's the only reason why relationships stay together is because they see that my partner is empowered enough in all those areas for me not to want to get something fulfilled outside of the relationship. The partner that decides that, you know, they want to outsource some parts of the relationship, they're clearly seeing more benefits in making that decision. And that's all they're doing is, in the moment, they're just going, well, clearly my partner at home isn't giving me enough time. Do I find somebody else that's going to give me more time and, you know, create that space? Or, you know, the other way is finding out whatever they're dedicated to, how does it help me fulfill what's most important? And that brings me on to the next question, you know, which is someone said, well, what if they have different interests than I do, different priorities? Well, if somebody, for example, is dedicated to their work and, you know, they're working late nights, and you're now going, well, this partner doesn't have time for me. Well, you can ask this question: how is what they're dedicated to helping you in what you're dedicated to? Because what you're seeing is a difference. You're seeing that their priorities are in the way of your life. When you ask, how does it fulfill my priorities that they are dedicated to work? You'll see that your partner's priorities are actually not in the way of your life. They're on the way of your life. Because let's just say your high priority is, you know, personal development, it's self-mastery. And when your partner's working late, it actually gives you time to reflect and meditate and, you know, work on yourself and do some processes on yourself, for example. You're going to start to see that actually when my partner works late, he helps me fulfill what's most important. And then you're not trying to look for that very thing you think isn't being fulfilled in the relationship outside. Does that make sense? So remember, this first thing is finding out what are their priorities. Second of all, is actually linking how what is important to them helps me achieve what's most important to me. And then the other thing is understanding that, you know, when you are fulfilling their priorities, how are you getting yours fulfilled at the same time? Okay. The last question, more of a statement, is cheating is still bad. Ladies and gents, any event or any label we have that we give something, everything we experience, everything we go through, anybody we encounter, it's all neutral until we label it good and bad. Because what happens is, if it actually, you know, for example, let me take the example I just gave you with regards to somebody working late. If it challenges your highest priorities, you will label it bad, that your partner does not give you enough time. When you ask the question, how does one that dedicated to a late night at work, how does it help you? You now might label it a good thing because you see how it's helping you. We are filtering things through according to our highest priorities on whether something supports us, we label it good. When it doesn't support us in our perception, we label it bad. Cheating, that's why I make it in inverted commas. I've been there where I've, you know, thought it was the worst thing I could have gone through and there could possibly be no benefits in experiencing it. I can tell you it took me at least 100 benefits to actually get to the point where I was grateful for what had happened. And I could see that, you know, I got to a space that, oh, there are so many benefits in this. If it happens again, great, let me see it come. Okay, I was not attached to wanting to try and avoid something, because the only time you're trying to avoid something is when you think it's bad, it's got more drawbacks than benefits in your perception, more negatives than positives, when in actuality there'll always be a balance of both. But we just need to ask the right questions to see that from that point of view. So really the decision lies with the person that has been through the event. I know that the decision lied with me. Did I want to remain a victim, thinking that, oh my God, cheating is such a bad thing, and that I've been through it and my life is like, you know, at the end, and, you know, I'm not worth it, I'm not worthy, no one's ever going to love me, and, you know, I'm the cause of this, and you know, all these thoughts that go, you know, I'm ugly, or I'm fat, and all these thoughts kind of go through your head. And all I can say is I would rather be the master of my destiny, and that's available to you. So I want you to know that it's possible to get over and deal with this thing that you think is so traumatic that you've been through, just by asking a few questions. And they're quite empowering questions to ask. So I hope that's been of value to you with the extra questions that came in. And I said, Please excuse the voice and the cold and everything, but I really just wanted to get this out there. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. All the best, and I'll see you next week. Bye.